Hi, Saints fans. Welcome back to NewOrleansSaints.com, and this is our afternoon wrap for Week 2 of OTAs, brought to you by Acme Oyster House with John DeShazier. I'm Sean Kelley. Weather played a factor into the final day of Week 2, didn't it, John?
Yeah, wreaked a little havoc early. Downpour drove the team inside, and actually as soon as they got inside, it stopped raining and the sun came back out. But once they move everything inside, you might as well get the work done.
No doubt. It was 3 days of work, much like last week, and it sets up the third and final week of OTAs next week. And as Sean Payton says, work will begin on Monday. What noticeable things did you come away with today, John, as far as our second look at the Saints here in the offseason?
Well, I mean, I think you saw some pretty impressive performances out of a couple of people today, notably wide receiver R.J. Harris, who had some fantastic catches against the defense. We also saw Michael Thomas make a nice play with Drew Brees. We'll talk about that a little bit later. We saw some shifts along the offensive line. Andrews Pete was playing left tackle. There's been an a flu bug running through the team a little bit. Zach Strief got the day off because of that, and so Tyrus Thompson was able to work at right tackle. Left tackle, again, we mentioned Andrews Pete instead of Teron Armstead. So we've seen a little bit of shifting along the offensive line. Saw Tim Lolito out there with the ones, Senio Clemente still with the ones, and Max Unger also.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And with regard to Teron Armstead, he's missed the last 2 days, and that was by design, says head coach Sean Payton. The other thing Coach Payton talked about today was the progression from what was accomplished in Week 1 of OTAs, now here to Week 2. Certainly, there's a mental aspect of what's going on right now with this football team.
Really, situationally, we're evolving, and so the last 2 days, today and yesterday, the focus was third down. Last week, we would have been on first and second down. Monday, we'll be in the red area, and so as we change situationally what we're working on, the installs change, and so a lot of it, that would be the big thing, is sub pressure. Red zone will come Monday, Tuesday, 2 minute will come next week as well. And we try to create those scenarios that they're going through.
John, Drew Brees also spoke today after this final day of week number 2. He covered a lot of topics. He did not speak last week, so I'm sure that folks were eager to ask him plenty here after 2 weeks of work.
Well, you always want to get the word from the franchise quarterback, and Drew's always the spokesman for this team, so he has a good take on every possible angle that you can ask him.
Watching him today, boy, he's ready to go. I mean, it's amazing how ready he looks already on June the 2nd.
Yeah, if the season started next week, it would be fine with Drew Brees. I mean, he's a guy who obviously wants to ramp and improve as the season goes along, but right now he is as sharp as you can possibly imagine.
Effusive praise today from Drew Brees about one of his newest wide receivers. Not only did R.J. Harris have a great day, but as J.D. mentioned, Michael Thomas continues to impress, and Drew talked about one particular aspect of today's practice that stood out to him.
I gave him a signal that he has never seen before. We talked about it, but again, we had never repped that route before. We just vaguely talked about it, maybe weeks ago. Yeah. And it just came out because we're just playing ball, and the look was right for it. And normally it might be Brandon Coleman, who we have repped that before, but in this case, Michael Thomas is in there. He hasn't seen it before, and yet he did it, and it looked just the way I would have wanted it to.
So basically, I had a route on that was like a quail route, where I had like a 18-yard out route, and Drew gave me a signal where he wanted me to, instead of running that, whatever he saw in the defense, he wanted me to pump it. So I still had to run that route hard with my eyes and then sell it 2 steps and then break it for a big gain. And it was 3rd and 18, and we got to convert on third down.
John, you mentioned the big catch by Michael Thomas today. We had, 3 really nice catches by R.J. Harris. Let's not forget Kobe Fleener also had a couple of grabs across the middle today.
Well, there's a reason they got him. You heard Drew Brees talking about him on this video, how he's a guy who always seems to be open. Yeah. And he's a guy who's making that magic again here with the Saints. That's one of the reasons they got him. Coach Sean Payton said they had a specific vision for him. And one of those visions, obviously, is a guy who always seems to be open every time you turn around.
Yeah, Brees talking about Fleener here after today's practice as well.
His reps have kind of ramped up as we've gone through OTAs here, but yeah, I mean, there's a feel for the game. I mean, there's a fluidness to the way that he plays that it's. I feel like from a quarterback's perspective, it's easy to read his angles, easy to feel what he's about to do, and therefore anticipate where the ball needs to be thrown. He's got big range. Obviously, he's a big, tall guy who can really cover some ground. So he's done some good things as well.
Drew also gave us a little sneak peek on what could be fun to watch here upcoming during training camp, and that maybe is the battle of wits that will exist between number 9 and the new middle linebacker for the New Orleans Saints, James Laurinaitis.
Well, we've seen that before with Jonathan Vilma here, and now Laurinaitis seems to be taking up that position in terms of a guy who can mentally match Drew Brees.
Yeah, Drew even said that started today at OTAs.
He's very focused on learning the defense, and then but you can see that just in his, like, there was something he did today. I'm not going to say it because it's kind of a game plan thing. I don't want to give away, but he did something today where I was like, oh, that was clever, and just on the fly, So I see stuff like that and I was like, that's a veteran move, So it's gonna be a fun camp going against him.
All right, John, with that, we'll put a wrap on week 2. Final thought from you and perhaps a preview of what we'll see next week.
Well, another productive week. We know the OTA media schedule changed from next Wednesday to next Thursday, so we'll have that. And also, the minicamp schedule is out. It's on NewOrleansSaints.com. It'll be June 14th through 16th, so look out for that. It's open to the public, so fans will be able to come out and see the team. We'll
look forward to that. I know the guys are looking forward to a nice weekend and then back to work on Monday. We'll be back with you 1 week from today for that third and final OTA wrap-up here on NewOrleansSaints.com. For John DeShazier, I'm Sean Kelley. Y'all have a great weekend, and go Saints.